this is Hers and you are watching WPF World. In this video, we are going to learn how to write the unit test using NUnit. So without wasting time, let's get started. Here I have one class calculator where we have two methods add and div. Before writing unit test, we have to first install two NuGet package. So first install this package NUnit and NUnit test adapter. Here I am using NUnit of 4.3.2 version and NUnit 3 test adapter version is 5.0.0. And now I will show the unit test, and here I will cover all the attributes which we can use in our unit test. So to write the unit test, we have to first add this attribute text fixture to the class, okay? And then this is the setup method where we can write which is required to initialize for all the unit test. So here we have to use setup attribute so that it will call at the startup of unit test. Now let's first see the first type of unit test. Here I have written one unit test which will take 3 arguments. So this test case attribute will take the argument like 2, 3 and 5, where 2 and 3 are the input for the add method and 5 is the result. We have to pass the 3 argument in the unit test method. Now we can call the method using this calculator class which we have created in the setup method, okay? So when we call this method, then it will call this add method, then it will return the result. So here I am passing 2 and 3 as an argument of add method, so it should return 5. So to verify this value, we have to use assert, and then we have to use that method which will take the actual result, and here is the comparison like is equal to expected, means here it will take the result of this method and then we are comparing this value to the expected field, okay? Then if both are equal, then our test case will pass. Now let's run and see. I will run it. You can see here the run finished and you can see the green mark here, okay? So now let's pass 6 here and now run it. So it should fail because the result will return 5 but expected is 6. So let's see. We can see here one failed. You can see the cross mark here, right? And we can see the region here, one failed. We can go to text explorer and here we can go here and find for the unit test. Go to this method and you can see expected is 6 but was 5 because this add method will return a 5 but we are comparing with 6, that's why it's failed. So now I will divert it. Now let's run it. Now it should pass. You can see now it is green. This is the one type of unit test where we will pass the argument as a unit test method parameter. Okay, now we'll see the second type of test. So here we have one expected result field inside the test case. Like if you see here also we are checking expected. But here we are using this argument as expected. We have one property inside the test case attribute which is expected result. So we no need to pass this as a method parameter, okay? So here we will pass the input and we will initialize expected result to the expected value. Now if you can see here we have only 2 fields, first and second. Now here I will return the result. So what it will do? It will return the result like if we can see this 2 and 3, it should return 5. So it will return 5, then it will compare with this 5 value. In the same way, we can write method with multiple value and we can check multiple value in the one unit test. Okay, so here we have 3 unit tests where first unit test will take 2 as first argument and 3 as second. Like that, we have the second unit test and third unit test. Okay, now we will go to the third type of unit test. Okay, so here we can see we can categorize our unit test like this is for add method. So we can add this attribute category attribute and we can specify the name like in which category we want to keep this unit test. So if you run it, then you can see here, okay, let's first run it. All are passed now. And if you go to test explorer, you can see this is the category addition, right? Now let's see another one. So here we have seen this test case attribute taking the parameter, but here if you see, we can pass the parameter in the argument level of the method. So here first parameter will take 1, -5 and 10 3 value, and second also will take 3 value, and we can assert like this, like result with this value 1 2 1 0 like that. So if we run it, so it will run the multiple test case with the combination of this value, like it will run 9 test case. Like first it will take 1 2, then 1 0, then 1 -3, and then again 3, then again 3. So 9 test case will be there here, and here we are using only test attribute, not the test case, and here we are passing the value in the parameter using the values attribute. In this way we can have multiple value validation in the one unit test. Okay, now we'll see the next one. Here also we can see, here we are using values attribute and we added category as addition. So if we run it, we can see here we have 9 unit tests, right, like above one, right? So 9 is here, so this unit test will also come under this addition category. Okay, now we'll go to next one, test case source attribute. So here we can pass the parameter using the method. So here we are using test attribute and the test case source attribute, where it will take the method name. If you go here, we can see the method, and here we are returning 3 data. Okay, test case data 1 2 3. So this will take argument like this, first, second and third. If you go here, first, second and third, it will map this test case data to the test case parameter. Okay, and in the same way we can assert it. Okay, so using the method we can pass the argument to our test case. Now we can see the next type of test case for the division, means this method. So here I will show. Okay, so here you can see, here we are using test case attribute and we are passing 3 value here, which will map to first, second and expected, and we can verify this value using assert. Okay, so this we have already seen for the addition method, so I will skip this, then we'll go for next, the exception case. Like if we pass any 0 value for the second field, then it will throw the divided by 0 exception. So here we have to use this test attribute, and using the throws method we can verify the exception. Okay, here we can write assert.throws and the exception type, and then here we will call method as a lambda expression. So if it will throw the exception, then it will pass, otherwise it will not pass. Okay, so let's first run it. This time it should pass because I am passing 1 as a second argument, but 0 as second argument, but now I will pass 10. So this time it should fail because it will not throw any exception. Let's run it. You can see one failed and you can see the cross mark. If you want to see the exception or error, we can see here. You can see expected divided by 0 but marginal, because it will not throw the any exception. Okay, now we'll see how to write the test case to get the input from CSV file. So here again we will use test case source, and this is the method how we already used in the addition. So if you see here what we are doing, we are reading the value from the CSV file, and then we are skipping because first row, because it is header, and we can split by comma because CSV will have value separated by comma, and then we will return test case data object, and we will get all the column value here, and then we will get the value here. That value will be mapped to this field, and then we can verify this value using the CSV file data. Okay, now I will show the execution flow of the unit test. For that I will add breakpoint in setup method and one of the test case. Okay, and also I will add one breakpoint to the add method. Right click here and select debug tests. You can see it hit the breakpoint of setup method first. Let's continue. Then it will go to the test case method and call the method here and execute it. Okay, and now again it hit the setup method breakpoint because of the second test case, because this setup attribute, wherever it is added, it will call for each of the test case. So let's continue. You can see it hit the test case breakpoint and then it will call the add method. Okay. For the third test case, again it hit the breakpoint of setup method and then again it will hit the test case method and the add method and return the result and assert it. Okay. So now I want to run this setup method only once for all the test case. For that we have attribute called one time setup, and now let's debug it. So it will call only once. Let's debug it. You can see it hit the breakpoint of setup method for the first test case. Let's continue it. Now you can see it did not hit the setup method, it only hit the test case. So let's continue it. And for the third test case also it did not hit the setup method breakpoint. If you want to initialize anything only once for all the test case, then we can use one time setup attribute. So now I want to make this calculator null after each test case execution. So how to do that? For that we have one attribute called tear down. We can add to any of the method which we want to run. We can say clear and I will make it null. Okay, so what it will do, it will done at the end of each test case. So let's debug it. You can see it hit the breakpoint of setup method. Let's continue. Now it call the add method and then it call the clear method, then it will call the test case. Okay, we have this setup method which will execute only once and we are initializing this calculator inside it. We are making it null in clear method. That's why for the second test case we are getting this exception called null difference exception. Okay, so for now I will make it setup. Let's debug it. For now I will remove this breakpoint from here. Let's continue. You can see this clear method called for the first test case, and for the second test case after the execution of test case it will again call, then for third also it will call. Okay, now I want to call this method only once at the end of all test case. So for that we have attribute called one time tear down. Okay, now here also I will make one time to show how it will work, because here I want to initialize only once and clear only once at the end of all the test case execution, so it will not throw the null pointer exception. Now let's debug. I will remove the breakpoint from here. Let's continue. It's executed first, second, third test case, then only it call the clear method. Okay, now let's continue it. Okay, this is how we can initialize anything at the startup of all the test case and clear some field at the end of all test case. So I hope you learn how to write the unit test, how to use different kind of attribute, and how to verify the CSV file value in our unit test, and also how to take the value from any method to verify in our unit test. That's all for this video. If you found this video helpful, let's share with your friends.